So guys, every time I make this green chicken pozole, I tend to make it a little bit different. It's definitely not traditional, but man, it seems to work out good every time. So I start by charring my peppers. I have some poblanos and some Anaheims. I'm gonna get a nice burn on them, and I use my actual burners to do this. You could put them in the broilers, spray them with a little bit of cooking oil. That char is just gonna add a real nice level of flavor. So once we get those charred, I'm gonna put them in a Ziploc baggie. I close it up, and that's going to make them sweat, and that'll help that skin to pull right off. We'll just set those aside, and we're going to start our tomatillos. Those are going to go in a pan with a little bit of oil. Same thing, we're going to kind of char these. We're not going to sweat them, but we're going to get a real nice color on them. Lots of darkness. We're going to char them a little bit. After a few minutes, I'm going to go ahead and add in a handful of garlic. I don't want to do that in the beginning because I don't want it to burn, but I do want a little bit of a char on that too. Once we get to that point, we're going to add a little water in there. Now we're going to just let those simmer for about 10 or 15 minutes. They're going to soften up, and we'll put them in our blender. We're going to get that garlic in the blender too, and we're actually going to put the liquid in there too. We're going to let all this puree together. So we'll go on the blender, try to get it nice and smooth, and then it's time to peel our peppers. Now because we put them in that bag and let them sweat, you're going to see that skin's just going to come right off real easily. After I get the majority of it off, I rinse them under a little bit of water. That helps get the last couple pieces. We're going to go ahead and remove the stems and most of the seeds. We'll add that into our tomatillo mix. We're just going to puree that as well. And then one final thing, add in a bunch of cilantro. One final puree, get it nice and smooth, and it's time to start cooking. So I got a pan with some oil. We're going to throw in some onions. Let those start softening, get that pan nice and hot with that oil, and we're going to kind of saute that sauce. We throw it in there, let it cook for a few minutes. It's time to season. I'm going in with some dried Mexican oregano. We're going to add some cumin and then a good handful of salt. Finish that with some black pepper. Mix that around a little bit. It's time to add our chicken stock in. We're going to let this all simmer for just a minute, and then I made some enchiladas last week, and I had a bunch of extra chicken. That's the reason I'm making this pozole in the first place. So I add my chicken, I add my hominy, give that a nice stir, and we're going to let that simmer for about 20 minutes. That's it. It's ready. Time to bowl it up. So little scoop goes in the bowl. Top it with some cabbage. I have some fresh diced onion, a little bit more cilantro, and some crispy tortilla strips. That's all you need, guys, and I'm gonna tell you what, this was a home run. What a treat. Thanks for watching. Cheers, everyone.